Zohran Mamdani and the Glastonbury Music Festival? Okay, I kind of...
Violence is an artificial construction.
Death to the IDF!
We have to be very clear that what is happening here.
Death to the IDF!
These are the people the West has imported and then trained their own children to follow. Good job, West.
Dude, it's awesome. Jewish guy doing anti-Jew tropes in an effort to desperately cling on to his racist fan base that left a long time ago because he's Jewish at the behest of Israel. Okay? Oh, we're importing these third worldists. Not me, but these other Jews are importing these third world disgusting barbaric monsters. Like this kind of commentary only appeals to white nationalists who already hate you because you wear a yarmulke, dumbass. Like, what do you mean? You can't You can't great replacement theory this at this stage after defending Israel for the past 20 months. I always ask myself, like, who is this for? You know what I mean? Like, who is Ben Shapiro speaking to? 44,000 views in 4 hours. Apparently not a lot of people.
Excellent job. The other big continuing story of politics in the United States, of course, is the impending election of Zohran Mamdani as mayor of New York City. So Zohran Mamdani, he continues to be as radical as it is possible to be. He is sympathetic to jihadism. He is effectively communistic in his approach to the markets. He is, in fact, racist against white people. And there's no other way to read the agenda that he has spelled out publicly. He was asked by CNN, what are your feelings about capitalism? His answer was, I don't like it.
Do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on, is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors, and we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do.
He does not like capitalism, you understand? He's in the greatest financial center in the history of the world, in New York City, and he does not like capitalism. That would seem to be a bit of a warning flag, you might think, especially given the fact he's a career useless person. He's a 33-year-old who's never held a solid job a day in his life until he's going to become mayor of...
What solid job have you held? You're a failed movie writer, dude.
The biggest city in the country and a financial center of the West. He grew up in the home of a radical anti-colonialist, in scare quotes, professor at Columbia University who's sympathetic to every form of radicalism, and an Indian American mother who made radical left-wing films in Hollywood. That is
yeah, something you failed to do, by the way, which is make any movies in Hollywood, which is why you then started your own company to make movies, and you failed again.
His upbringing, rich, privileged, as left-wing as possible, became a citizen rather late in life, and now is running for mayor of New York on the platform of I hate capitalism, and I hate Donald Trump, and also white people are bad. According to the New York Post, New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani wants to hike property taxes for, quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods. It says that in his campaign platform, quote, shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. And now that's just plain racist and also a violation of the Civil Rights Act. You're not allowed to use the law to discriminate against people on the basis of their race, obviously. Pretty astonishing that he is saying that sort of stuff out loud. But again, he can say all of this sort of stuff because being a radical with the college-educated white liberal base is the feature, not the bug. And there's so many people who are rational, who are hearing all this and they're like, wait a second, how's this guy going to win? And the answer is he's going to win because of this. Because the virtue signaling on the left is just that strong. It is that important to be radical. And the omnicause must prevail. They're going to elect a guy who literally said that violence is an artificial construction. Here he was, not all that long ago, talking about violence while he was promoting defunding of the police.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators.
All right, I don't really care about the Zohran shit. I want to see the death of the IDF. I want to see him mauled. Okay, let's see. Maybe he'll on Tucker too.
Jerry Dunleavy writing, Zohran Mamdani's relationship with Sarsour went largely men. A long October Israel in Palestine.
Yeah. Brad Lander also friends with Linda Sarsour. Too late, Ben. Nobody gives a about that either. That's like Ben trying to do the 2016 era smears of being like Linda Sarsour is anti-Semitic. Why? Because she's pro-Palestine. Yeah, you got it. Okay.
Palestine, a group that instructed its nation
stores or love socialism or love like foreign-born midwits running their cities. Probably not. That guy was the only person in the New York City mayor's debate to say he wanted to focus on New York City. All the candidates were asked, if you could visit a foreign country, what would it be? And they all, of course,
I can't wait for Ben to be like, it's actually deeply anti-Semitic that Tucker Carlson said this. You are supposed to go to Tel Aviv to be the mayor of New York.
Said Israel, great. And he said, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd stay in New York. And like if I want to meet Jewish constituents, I go to their synagogues, their homes or whatever, but I'd be here in New York because that's what I'm doing. I'm running New York. That's my job.
Well, he gave the right answer.
He gave the right answer. He gave the right answer at least. And he's talking. I totally oppose his program. Just
absolutely.
To be clear. I don't think it works. But he's talking about economics.
Yep.
And everyone else is talking about foreign policy. Why is it hard to talk about economics, domestic economics?
I don't know. Apparently they don't know how to fix it.
Unbelievable. Okay, again, saying that you oppose his agenda and then praising him for talking about economics as a communist is pretty incredible. But again, the horseshoe theory there is all about the fact that Mamdani hates Israel.
Oh, wow. Wow. Ben hates Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson. Wow.
And so, of course, to some of the people that you just saw on your screen, which is why they've been expressing so much support for all of the opponents of Israel that they can find on their shows. And that's kind of an amazing horseshoe theory thing happening right there, because that's not actually what Mamdani said. If you actually go back and watch the debate, he didn't say, I don't want to focus on the Middle East. I just want to focus on what's happening here. He literally said he believes in the disestablishment of Israel as a Jewish state. That's what he actually said during the...
Why should we care about this? Like, I care about this because I think it's abhorrent that our tax dollars are going there. Even if our tax dollars weren't going there and Israel is truly a sovereign state and was literally doing the Holocaust, I would still care on the basis of humanity, right? Because this is an unconscionable, evil thing to do to another population, okay? But, like, why should the average American who doesn't give a fuck about any of that stuff care to this degree? Like, oh, my God, Israel cannot be he wants to disassemble Israel being a Jewish demographic ethno-state. It's like, yeah, dude, why should any of your fans care about this? If anything, they'll care about it in the opposite direction because our tax dollars are propping this shit up. Like, what is this take?
The debate. So that's a complete mischaracterization in order to...
I looked at the comments. Yeah, it's mostly just like, heard there, whoa. Zohran, a Muslim, talking about colonialism, violence, artificial construction, like people that watched only the first half of it. Mamdani would run from a real soldier if he bumped into Netanyahu.
Defend Mamdani because Mamdani is, of course, a rabid Jew hater, a full-scale anti-Semite who supports terrorism. Okay, and this does say something about the radical left. The anti-Americanism, the anti-capitalism, the anti-Israel, the anti-Jewish of it, they are all linked. They are all of a piece. It is all about destroying systems that are successful. It's all about that. It's, by the way, also linked to anti-Christianity. All of these things are of a piece.
Nah, not really. Good luck with that, man. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with this narrative. I don't think the people that care about defending Christianity are on board with this at all, you know?
The omni cause exists because of its omni opponent. And the omni opponent is the system. Capitalism, free markets, private property, free speech, strong foreign policy in the face of nefarious and evil enemies, traditional...
Okay, this is boring. All right, yeah. Okay, all right, here. I just wanted to watch him mauled over the death to the IDF shit.
Glastonbury is apparently a giant music festival that happens in the UK, broadcast on the BBC. And at this gigantic music festival in Glastonbury, there was a person that I had never heard of, who you also probably have never heard of, calls himself Bob Villain, right, as opposed to Bob Dylan. And this person got up in advance of a band called Kneecap, which has, of course, gone out and campaigned against Israel and talked about how evil Israel is. And he decided that he was just going to call for the death of IDF soldiers, and also he was going to shout about...
I love these kinds of videos, And it's because they're literally just like crying about how much everybody hates Israel. Okay? It's awesome. It's just like, why does everybody hate Israel? Like all he's saying here is just like, everybody hates Israel. I don't like it. Why do you should love Israel instead of hating Israel? Have you thought about loving Israel?
About how the West should essentially fall. Here's what he had to say, shouting at a gigantic crowd of people flying flags for Palestinians, terrorist groups. And
yeah, I don't think you'd give a fuck if they were flying Israeli flags, right? You love that shit. So, spare me.
all the rest. These are the people the West has imported and then trained their own children to follow. Good job, West. Excellent job.
We've done it all right? From working in bars to working for Zionists. And if we can do this, I promise you, lot, you can do absolutely anything that you put your mind to. I'm telling you this. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! All right, but have you heard this one, though? Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF!
This was broadcast on the BBC.
Death, death to the IDF!
Dude, there are tens of thousands of people in the crowd, and they're cheering death, death to the IDF, which of course I would never. I condom. I condom. Disavow. I mean, come on. No. I condom so hard. Did you notice Ben saying Bob Villain was imported? Just clear great replacement dog whistle while pretending to speak out against anti-Semitism? No, I did. That was the first thing I noticed, which is why I laughed. He's like, he's doing the Jews did great replacement in our beautiful Western civilization while simultaneously defending Israel. Like, who is this for? You're just...
Death to the IDF! Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
So just going to point out, Hamas is not going to attack that music festival, not like the Nova Music Festival, because all of the Hamas...
Yeah, because it's not slammed next to a open-air prison as a part of an ongoing apartheid system that is being propped up. It's because it's in England and not in... or it's in the UK and not in Israel, okay?
Stands are in the crowd at this one. Maybe Hamas is attending. They found some of their favorite bands. This was broadcast in living color on the BBC. By the way, it wasn't just that this human piece of dreck suggested death to the IDF. He also ran around the stage shouting, quote, "I heard you want your country back. Shut the up."
Heard you want your country back. Ha! Shut the up. Heard you want your country back. You can't have that. Heard you want your country back.
This part was the best. Like, watching white ladies...
you can't have that. Heard you want your...
Like, I did not understand what the UK was about. This dramatically changed my opinion. Okay? Like, that's awesome. Like, never in my life would I have thought a British Barbara, like with a sunflower hat like this, would be like, yeah, heard you want your country back, yeah? In it, shut the up in it. Love that.
Okay, that's what he said on the stage there. So first of all, great ad for Nigel Farage's Reform Party, which says, get all of these people out of our country. Great ad for them. But this is indicative of a rise in not only, it's all the things. It is hatred for the West. It is hatred for the civilization that has granted them all of their power, all of their economic might, all of their privileges, all of their free speech.
He just straight up, he's saying, like, black people should be grateful. Like, that's what he's saying. He's like, know your place, black person. We gave you all of your economic might. That's crazy. He's like, you're an immigrant. You're permanently an immigrant. And you should know your place. And you should also be deported. Nice.
Right? And that, of course, is combined with the reason why they hate Israel. They don't hate Israel just because it's filled with Jews. Of course, that's one reason. They also hate Israel because Israel, they believe, is an extension of the quote-unquote colonialist West. That is the real reason they hate Israel. So, again, disgusting and vile, but indicative of a new left-wing base that exists across the political boundaries that separate.
No, you don't understand. He hit the air quotes, so it's not real. Okay. You see, you don't actually have to make an argument. You can simply present it as wrong. And then that's it. You can simply just go, quote unquote, Western colonial expansion when referring to Israel. And then as long as you hit the air quotes, then everybody knows that the thing that he's quoting is wrong.